I pulled this Kugoo E-Scooter from, of all things, a skip, and I've decided to see if it works. So let's see how we go. Now, the controller is located in behind this little panel here, so I've actually taken the screws out already. There goes one of them. Working one-handed, of course, is never easy. There we go. So this comes off here, revealing the the controller here, and then there's also a separate module up the top here for the display. We'll come to that now in a little while. But what you need to do in order to remove the controller easily is loosen off these three cap head screws here, and that will allow this to just pull out. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a bit of further disassembly here, and I'm going to take off the handlebar from the bottom section. So I imagine it's probably just a case of undoing these bolts down here, and we can maybe dive into it a little bit in more detail and just check and make sure that the wiring down at the battery and everything like that is all right, because it bears mentioning, folks, lithium batteries are dangerous, so you really do need to proceed with caution. If you're going to do something like this, make sure that you don't get yourself into a situation where you could potentially damage or short out the battery, because there's a lot of energy in them and they can go on fire. I also have a fire extinguisher close by to me here, and I've got 2 points of access to the garage at all times, so if I need to run, I can run. Now, if it turned out that the controller was at fault, as I said, the controllers are available. They're I think you can get a whole kit, the controller, the screen, and a charger and stuff like that for like €45, which is not massive money really, all things considered. Ooh, let's get that out of our way actually. Disconnect this as well, so at least that way that gets our controller out of the way too. Right, I'm not going to go any further into that because, to be honest with you, I don't want to end up doing some damage that I can't reverse out of. So the next thing I'm going to actually try and do is I'm going to try and just cut off that connector there and see if we can just work within that spot. And what I'll do is I'll solder on a couple of longer wires, and we'll get a we'll figure out a new way of connecting on that control module. So for the time being, anyway, let's see if we can just pull back we'll cut back that heat shrink and see how we can best remove the connector and leave as much wire exposed as possible. If the pins of the terminals are still there and I can actually solder onto them, then happy days, that's what we'll do. So I was able to actually very easily cut the connector in two with the snips, and it's incredibly brittle, so that's probably down to heat stress or something like that. But in any case, it gets us kind of where we need to be. So there's one terminal exposed. Now we need to be very careful not to short these out, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wrap some tape around that now, so as it is not going to get damaged or touch against the other terminal. Try and just cut the rest of this plastic off this as well. Okay, so now that gives us our two terminals, which we should be able to solder onto, get some heat shrink down over them, get us some longer wires that we can actually work with, and then we can actually start looking at getting our controller connected up to them. And hopefully that will see us right, because I'm thinking that is actually the only problem with this. So let's see how we go. Okay, so here we are. We have that soldered into place there now on the negative. So we're going to just put a bit of heat shrink over that. What I actually did was I pushed the wire into the inside of the terminal, and I actually just crimped it and then soldered it. So it's kind of a belt and braces type of thing. And now the heat shrink can go nicely down over that, which will protect it once we, now that we're going to get stuck into the positive side. So let's get the tape off that and start having a look at what we're dealing with here. And here you can see up close the soldering is done on the positive, like so, which is grand, and it's not going anywhere. And I have the heat shrink ready to be shrunk on the negative. I'm going to put it on the positive as well, and then that gives us our two flying leads. Just out of interest, let's have a look and see if we're getting any voltage on the battery here. So I have a multimeter set up, so we'll get negative there, positive there. Ah, shite. Hang on now. Yeah, 39 volts. Excellent. That's a good sign. It's supposed to be 40 volts. So That's pretty much what we're looking for. All right, so now, next step is to get the controller connected up to all this gubbins. So I'm going to shorten these down, and I'm actually just, for the time being, I'm just going to use this. It's a strip connector, but absolutely nothing wrong with it, to be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned. That is, they're used all over the place in various applications, and in this application, it's going to do the job just fine. And now, again, making sure that these do not touch. We're going to get these connected up, and then we'll cut the connector off the control module as well. I know there's probably some people who criticize me for using this type of connector, but personally I think this is actually probably even better than what was on the scooter originally. That little brittle, crappy, bloody plug. Whereas at least this is not going anywhere. Now, there we go. So that's that. So now I'm just going to have a look at the wiring on the controller, which is here. And all we need to basically do is connect. You can see there's this it'll do for here going on to this. So there's two wires going on to the same position. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut them off. I'll solder the wires together, and then we'll put them into that block connector, and we'll see how we go then. And here we have the wires soldered together and ready to be inserted into the block connector or strip connector or whatever you want to call it here. Oh. We got a spark. Next thing to do is put our handlebars up the top. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put all of this gubbins back inside the frame and tighten them up now. I'm hoping that that's actually good enough, and then we can actually start putting the rest of the scooter together and seeing how we go. And hopefully then we will see some life out of it. That can go there. They can stuff themselves in there. And now what I want to do is as well the wiring on the handlebars. Remember I told you? Need to just address that as well and get that tidied up, because that's not good enough either. So I'm actually just going to use a bit of Tessa tape to tidy that up there. Tessa tape is that fabric tape that you see wiring harnesses wrapped in. And given that this is a wiring harness, it would seem to be appropriate. It strikes me that there should have been a gland or a rubber boot or something on this. But for the time being, already, that's looking a bit more presentable. But yeah, I might see if we can do something a bit better than that at a later stage. But let's see if we can get at least the scooter working first of all, because there's no need to spend a whole load of time on something that's never going to work again, is there? So that is, there's a connector along here on the side, which is what goes down onto the motor, and there's arrows that you need to line up. Oh. All right, the motor moved a little bit. Pop this on now. I'm thinking maybe taking it down off the bench might be the way to go now at this point. Let's do that. At least this way, if it takes off now, it only crashes into my Fiesta project car instead of all the shite that's on the bench. So, let's see now what happens. Plug that in there. Alright. Now you guys come over here and we'll have a look and see if it is going to turn on for us at all. Whether there's any charge in it as well remains to be seen. I mean, I know there's some charge in it, but not a lot of life there in that, is there? Let's plug it in and see what happens. Yeah, so I'm just thinking, this is a 42 volt scooter, so if it's at 39 volts, that basically means the battery is all but dead. So let's okay, you got it. Now the wheel is doing that pulsing thing again, but let's just see if it had plugged in the display lights up. No. Alright. Maybe we just need to leave it for a little while longer. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, while that is just doing something or other anyway, and the wheel is pulsing like that, I'm actually just going to tidy up all of the rest of the wiring here and put it all back together again. Now that connector is going to go inside there. We need to tighten up these three bolts here as well, so we'll do that now. Well, now here's an interesting thing. I have had the charger connected for about 10 minutes there now. I've got a few things done, like the handlebars are connected up and all that now too. But watch what happens now that I have the motor disconnected. It powers on. But let's see what happens when I connect the motor now. Nope, no luck. Strange. Well, now the motor's plugged out. Plug the charger in. The display comes on. Okay, so the display is on now. And let me just plug in the motor now and see what happens. Right. It's as if it's tripping the controller or something like that. So that would lead me to believe that either the controller or the motor does have a fault. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to leave the motor disconnected and I'm going to leave the charger connected, because it is my belief that as that is connected now, the battery is actually being charged. And it may be a case that there's something going on when you connect the motor that, I don't know, it's just sensing that there's too low a battery power or something like that. Anyway, I'm just theorising. To be honest with you, until we have a fully charged battery though, we can go no further. So I'm going to just have to come back to this. Interestingly, with the motor disconnected, the charger seems to be working. There's a red light on it now, so I imagine that light goes green when the battery is fully charged. So, yeah, that's... I'm leaning more towards the controller than the motor being the fault, to be honest with you, though. I mean, the motor is not likely the type of thing to give fault. Now's as good a time as any, though, to let you know that I actually happen to know the guy who put the scooter in the skip, and he told me that it's his son's and it doesn't work because he drove it through a big puddle. So, water damage possibly somewhere, possibly the motor, maybe the controller just got fried, something like that. But that being said, I'm going to see if I can fix it still, and if I can get a controller cheap enough, then we might just try throwing that in and seeing if we can get it working that way. But, said the man who sells glass coffins, remains to be seen. So it's a number of days later, and look what arrived in the post. A new controller. So I've decided that basically I may as well throw a controller in it. This scooter stands me nothing, so really, what have I got to lose? I can spend the €35 that this cost me, and I'm only €35 in on the scooter then, so if it works, fantastic. I'm not fully convinced it will work, but it's worth a punt. Okay, the new controller is now in and wired up and everything there, and the situation as it stands is the battery is pretty much dead. Now I have it plugged in, but you can see the display is just about lighting up, but it's showing 19 volts, so that's not going to go anywhere. The fact that it's turning on, though, is a good sign, and the motor is connected and it's charging. It's not doing that pulsing thing at the wheel, so that looks like progress, but we need to charge that battery before we know for certain. Well, surprise, surprise, the new controller is not working, and it turns out the battery voltage is not 19 volts, which would mean a dead battery, to be honest with you, and it had only been charged. The battery voltage is actually showing 42 volts, which is fully charged when I stick a meter on it. But I had a look inside the old controller. Now, if the new controller is anyway close to the design of this, wait until you see this absolute shit. So, it's literally a case of just taking off the two end caps and these three screws along here, and you pull it out, and straight away you look at the back of the board, and it literally pared down the solder so that it doesn't touch the inside of the case. Not so much as a sheet of mylar or plastic or anything like that, or anything to protect that from happening. You hit a bump, odds are you're going to short something out. I mean, it's absolute junk. God almighty, how the hell are China turning out cars these days if this is the type of shit that they're sending out? You swear they want somebody to burn their house down. Unbelievable. Best place for it. Swing and a miss, folks. Unfortunately, it is not working. So, we took a punt on it. It didn't pay off. So back into the skip it goes.